The day is September 18, 2017. The city is São Vicente, Brazil. Now take a good look at the upper left corner of this recording. A silver vehicle driven by an app driver comes down the street. In this vehicle, in addition to the driver, there is also a customer, a guy named Matheus Garcia. The vehicle stops, Matheus gets out, goes to the sidewalk, and then the driver continues on his way. A few minutes later, a man appears in the images, coming in the opposite direction from the direction in which Matheus arrived on the street. The man walks in the same direction as Matheus, as if he were just walking down the street. The images don't show it very clearly, but as soon as the man gets close to Matheus, he approaches him and announces an robbery. Matheus, who was using his cell phone, gets scared and hands the device over to the robber. But even handing over the device, even without showing any reaction, as soon as Matheus turns his back, the assailant shoots him and runs away. Matheus is found a few minutes later by people who immediately call an ambulance. The boy was rescued alive and taken to the municipal hospital of São Vicente, but unfortunately, he died before reaching the hospital. When analyzing the images, the police initially worked with the hypothesis of a robbery that went wrong. But when they investigated further, they discovered that there was something more behind everything, and the robbery was just an attempted distraction. But who was Matheus Garcia, and why would anyone want to harm him? Matheus Garcia Vasconcelos Alves was 24 years old and lived with his parents in the city of Santos, on the coast of the state of São Paulo in Brazil. From a very early age, Matheus attended the Regatas International Club, and at the age of 5 he joined the sports of hockey and futsal. However, his love for roller skating made him identify more with the sport of hockey. He then started to play in the club's team in the Brazilian and São Paulo Hockey Championships. Matheus was also a publicity and advertising student at the University of Santa Cecilia. Due to his exceptional performance in the sport, in 2014, he competed for Brazil in the championships in Colombia and Uruguay. And in 2015, he was summoned by the Brazilian Confederation to complete the Senior World Cup held in France, where Brazil was in 11th place. According to his friends and family, Matheus was a fun and friendly person who liked to work, play sports, and spend his free time with his family. On the fateful day, September 18, 2017, Matheus left the house saying that he would solve something quickly related to college work. However, the hours passed and he didn't return. The boy's parents were already very worried, and around midnight, they received a call from the hospital informing that Matheus had been in an accident and that they should attend the scene. Upon arriving at the hospital, the boy's parents received the terrible news that their son had died. The news about the young athlete's death reverberated through all the newspapers and social media at the time. Family and friends were devastated by the loss and were still confused as no one knew for sure what had happened to Matheus. Initially, the police worked with the hypothesis of a robbery gone wrong, as I already mentioned. Matheus had come down the Uber with his cell phone and the device's charger in hand, but when he was found already shot, he only had the device's charger. The boy's parents told the police that the reason he went to the location was to solve something related to college work. This was strange, as none of Matheus' college classmates confirmed this version, including, according to sources, none of Matheus' college classmates lived in the area where he was found. The police knew that something didn't add up, and they also knew that it wouldn't be easy to find out what had actually happened to Matheus, but they continued to investigate. In addition to the security cameras installed on the street, the police also had access to other cameras in the vicinity of the scene. One of these cameras catches the moment when the criminal crosses the street to go towards the place where Matheus was. And it was through these images that the police were able to identify the criminal. He is Jarbas Koferai Neto, a 23-year-old military police officer. Jarbas was arrested on September 19, 2017, just one day after the crime, inside the battalion where he worked. At the time, Jarbas had been removed from his activities as a street police officer and placed in the administrative area by his superiors because he was responding to a lawsuit at the police force. According to sources, this suit was because Jarbas had been caught with narcotics that were hidden inside his locker at the battalion. Due to this, he had an exoneration in progress and was placed in the administrative area until his expulsion was formalized. Jarbas had been in the military police for a short time. He had graduated from the Soldier Superior School in 2016. And in less than a year after starting his activities in the corporation, he was already in the process of being dismissed. Before that, Jarbas sang crime-related songs. At the police station, Jarbas was confronted by investigators who showed him the security camera footage that caught him committing the crime. Investigators thought that even with the evidence they had, Jarbas would not confess, but to their surprise, the man confessed everything and also said why. According to him, the reason for the crime would be passionate, since Matheus would be harassing and chasing his girlfriend, and because he felt that she would be in danger, he decided to make an appointment with Matheus to scare him, but he ended up going too far and took his life. The police discovered that Matheus and Jarbas' girlfriend were friends and had known each other for a long time. They even studied at the same school for 10 years, and before this girl met Jarbas and started a relationship with him, Matheus had shown interest in her. I couldn't find information if Jarbas' girlfriend and Matheus got involved at some point, but what is known is that Jarbas never liked this friendship, getting to the point of hating Matheus for it. Jarbas and his girlfriend had been together for over 4 years and had a 3-year-old son. According to people close to the couple, Jarbas was very jealous and suspected that his girlfriend had cheated on him with Matheus, something the girls always denied. Although Jarbas told investigators that Matheus had been harassing and stalking his girlfriend, they didn't quite believe his story. And after an expertise carried out on his cell phone, this version was denied. Police officers discovered that Jarbas had reactivated his girlfriend's social media accounts and started talking to Matheus, impersonating her. There were 6 months of conversations until Jarbas managed to convince Matheus of a meeting. The meeting place was the street in the center of the city of São Vicente. Jarbas, who was pretending to be his girlfriend, had told Matheus that a cousin lived on the street and that they could talk more comfortably there. That night, Matheus took a car through the app, arriving at the place around 9:45 p.m. While Jarbas asked one of his childhood friends, who also worked as an app driver, to take him there with the excuse that he needed to solve some personal problems. Jarbas asked his friend and driver to park the car in a more secluded place and walk to the meeting point. At the scene, he was waiting for Matheus to arrive, and when he saw the boy arriving and getting out of the app car, he went towards the victim to execute his plan. After taking Matheus' cell phone to simulate a robbery and shooting him, Jarbas ran away from the scene and went towards the app driver and childhood friend who was waiting for him a few streets away from the place. All the action was filmed, as you already know, and it all lasted less than 2 minutes. Jarbas' friend, who took him to the place where he committed the crime, was identified and provisionally arrested, accused of complicity. In his testimony, he said that he only took Jarbas to the place he requested, but that he didn't know what Jarbas was going to do. He also said that he never saw Jarbas committing the crime, as he had parked the car a little far from the place where it all happened. Still, according to him, when Jarbas returned to the vehicle, he was normal and didn't show any kind of emotion that would indicate that he had done something wrong. Jarbas' girlfriend was also taken to the police station to give a statement. According to her, she had no idea that her boyfriend was using her social media that she had deactivated for over a year. She also said that it had a long time since she had contact with Matheus, and that the last time she saw him in person was over 3 years before. Later, both Jarbas' friend and his girlfriend were released by the police, since no evidence was found that they had any kind of participation in the crime. On September 29, 2017, the administrative process against Jarbas Neto was concluded, and he was exonerated from the military police of the state of São Paulo. That same day, the civil police carried out a reconstruction of the crime, but Jarbas refused to participate. According to what was found by the investigations, Jarbas suspected that his girlfriend had betrayed him with men other than Matheus. He even sent messages to these men pretending to be his girlfriend in order to arrange a meeting, but the only one who accepted was Matheus. On November 10, 2020, the trial of Jarbas Kofarai Neto began. In that trial, the prosecutors were able to prove that Matheus never had any romantic involvement with Jarbas' girlfriend, and that everything had been the fruit of his imagination, and that he had fantasized about the whole situation in a paranoid way. They also highlighted the fact that Jarbas had approached other men posing as his girlfriend with small talk and concluded that Jarbas wanted to know who would be interested in his girlfriend and that he would have shot anyone who showed such interest. According to the police, the clothes and gun that Jarbas wore on the day of the crime, along with Matheus' cell phone, were never found. But even so, due to numerous other evidences and also his confession, Jarbas was found guilty of the crime. On January 26, 2021, Jarbas Kofarai Neto was sentenced to 19 years and 7 months in prison to be served in a closed regime. According to sources, he is currently incarcerated at the Pinheiros 3rd Provisional Detention Center. Matheus Garcia Vasconcelos Alves was viewed and buried in the Ecumenical Necropolis Memorial Cemetery in the city of Santos. Thousands of people attended the farewell ceremony to pay their respects. He was also honored by close friends who tattooed the number 2 on their bodies, in a reference to Matheus' number on the hockey team he was a part of. Years before, Matheus had also gotten that same tattoo to show his pride for the team. In addition to declaring 3 days of mourning in the city, Matheus was remembered in a trophy that bore his name, delivered at the Brazilian Hockey Championship, which took place in November 2021. Alright folks, that's it for today. Thanks for watching until the end, best wishes, and I see you next time.